What's up, everybody? This is Erica, and I am back with another episode. Finally, I know, finally. Another episode of I Won't Be Long. It has been a while. It has been a while. It has. So first and foremost, I want to say Happy New Year. We made it from 2020. A challenging year, an unpredictable year, but it's still a year that has had some positive impact. It's challenged us. It's made us grow. It's made us see life differently. See how we are living differently. So some positives did come out of last year, but welcome to 2021 and Happy New Year to you guys. Additionally, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. I am 30, the big 30, so shout out to that. I made it to 30, and that within itself is a milestone, and that's an accomplishment. And you know, I couldn't be more happy with where I am in my life, with everything. So, like I said, it's been a while. So we have a lot of it's been a while, so we have a lot of catching up to do. So let's get into it. It's been a while, like I mentioned. So I feel that the best way to bring this podcast back is to lift the surface. It's been a while. So it's only right that this episode is going to be about new beginnings. So today we are lifting the surface of new beginnings. It's time to catch you guys up. Let's get into it. Last time I left off with you guys, it was around September-ish. And this was right before I relocated to Georgia. So I want to kind of catch you guys up on how all of that came about and basically where it's led since I've gotten here. So around August, September-ish, my sister Jerica, my other good friend and sister Lynn, they have a fulfillment company here. Shout out to Everlasting Love. As a side note, if you guys are business owners and you are growing with your business and you know you're getting tired of fulfilling orders in your homes, then reach out, look into Everlasting Love. You can look them up online, have.everlastinglove.com, and just check them out. So my sis had already talked about, you know, moving and you know, being full-time with the warehouse and just getting everything together with her business. And at this point, I'm quarantining with my family, so I'm still trying to figure out what my next steps are going to be. As you guys know, I started the podcast. So when Jerica proposed the idea of going to Atlanta, it was like a no-brainer, really. It was really a no-brainer because I know that Atlanta is a space for creatives, and specifically Black creatives. So I saw that in alignment with what I'm trying to do and with and where I'm trying to go with the podcast and being a speaker, a motivational speaker, just the networking opportunities that I would get here, just all kind of align. But it wasn't until I started making trips out there. So around October, she and I would take trips to Georgia, kind of just to work on things at the warehouse and also to look up places. And also what I was doing was applying for jobs. So I'm doing all of this because in my mind, I'm dead set at moving at this point. So when I would come here, it's like, I don't know if I can explain it, but it's like a feeling came over me where it's like, this is it. This is it. Like, this is what's next for you. This is where you need to be. This is where your next steps in life are gonna take place. Like, all of that was like so powerful when I was coming here, like I felt that energy, and I was set. Like I was dead set on moving. So something happened on Jerica's end where she wasn't able to, like, because we set a timeline, a deadline. We're gonna go October, and then we said we're gonna go before the end of the year. But life happened, and things didn't work out how we initially planned it. But I remember her having a conversation with me and just like, I see the fire in you, sis. I see what's happening when you come out here and pursue it. Pursue it, go after that feeling. And that was, that kind of was just the icing on the cake, so to speak, because I'd already had, like I said, I was dead set on moving, but I was planning on moving with my sister. So when things fell through with that, it's like, okay, I still have this feeling that this is where I'm supposed to be. But doing it solo wasn't the initial plan. But why not? What did I have to lose? Like, that was my mindset. So after that conversation with her, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And I just ramped up on the applications that I was submitting. I ramped up on looking for different places. And when I say that we were literally coming out here throughout the month of October, maybe once every week or once every other week, spending 4 or 5 days at a time, a week at a time. Sometimes, depending on the need, just coming out for a weekend. Literally, though, it was back and forth, driving back and forth, North Carolina to Georgia. And in that time frame, I got a call back for one of the jobs that I applied for. And so I made a separate trip myself to come back up to interview for the job that I applied for. And I hadn't planned on staying long because I just came up for the interview. And it was on a Monday. And I remember them calling me after the interview and them saying that they wanted me to meet with the founder of their organization for a second interview that Wednesday. So I extended my trip. Now, this whole time I'm working remote. So I'm also still trying to work with my full-time job and trying to look up places and trying to and going on job interviews. Like, I'm doing literally whatever it takes to make sure I'm set and to make sure that I'm able to take this step. So by that Wednesday, I interviewed with the founder of the organization, and I was literally, because I'd already extended my trip, so I was literally on the road after that interview. And mind you, this was a quick interview. It maybe took maybe 4 minutes, if that. I've never interviewed that quick before, so I just knew I did not have the job. That's never happened before. So I was, right after that interview, I literally hit the road to head back to North Carolina. And as I'm driving, I get the phone call that I got the job. So from there, we talked about the starting time and what that looked like. Now, mind you guys, again, I'm trying to come out here. I'm trying to make sure I'm doing what I can to move. So one of the things that was a part of that, or played a key role in that, was I told them that I had already relocated because I didn't want to risk missing out on an opportunity due to location. So I told them I was already a resident in Georgia. So that kind of put me in a position on the back end when we were discussing time frame and when to start, that kind of limited how much time I had, because the only thing I could go with was putting in a 2-week notice with my current job and going from there to this one. So at that point, I'm on a clock of finding somewhere to live in 2 weeks. Whew. When I tell y'all, that was a challenge within itself. I I started looking up so many places, and I'd already had places set aside. So when I was coming out here, I was going and viewing them in person or scheduling views to go tour these places in person. Some of them, a lot of them didn't match up to what they looked like online. Some of them did, but the pricing wasn't the best, and I started kind of getting discouraged from that. But then things started picking up. So there was one place where I did actually submit an application for, and I got approved for it. But I wasn't sold on like the area. I wasn't sold on like the aura from it. I wasn't sold on it just yet. So I kind of just tucked that away and kept looking. Then I found another place that was perfect, that had everything I wanted, that was in a great area, all of that. And I applied for it. I just knew I was gonna get it. And then I get a denial, you guys. Did not expect it, but I was denied. For credit, of all things, for credit. And I know I told you guys in previous episodes that credit was one of the things that I'm working on. So I didn't expect that at all. But to me, it was like, okay, back to the drawing board. I found another place that was equally or maybe a little bit better than that space, and applied for that. Same thing, got denied again. So as you guys can imagine, I'm literally like in a position where I'm discouraged. It's like I'm right here with it. I'm right here, and I'm trying to like still just tell myself, I mean, I have this job, so the job isn't going anywhere. The start date isn't going anywhere. So either way, I'm gonna have to find a place to stay. I'm gonna have to make this move. I'm gonna have to make it happen. And there was a place that I kind of overlooked before, but I circled back around to it, and it turns out it was a privately owned condo, which was great because of the whole credit thing that was happening. So I came and I toured this place, and mind you, while I'm going out on these tours, because like I told you guys, I'm working remotely, but I still have a full-time job, but I'm down to the wire here. So I'm going on these tours, and I come back, I lost my job while I'm looking for places out here, and I'm like, okay, all right. So that on the bright side, that gives me more time to look and to tour. On the not so bright side, that's interfering with my income. But I was okay, and I was gonna make it work. That's all I could do. So fast forward, I met with my landlord. I met with these landlords, and toured the place, and it was in a good area. The place looked incredible, and it was at that point, it was just about having a conversation about expectations, requirements, and what they're looking for. I submitted my application. They went through my application, ran the same credit check that every other person ran, and they gave me a call, and they're just like, you know, Erica, after meeting with you, you know, we really enjoyed talking to you. We enjoyed the type of person that you are, and you know, and you have some great references here. So, and as far as your credit goes, we see that you have been working on it, and it has been improving, and that's really all that you can ask these days. So, and they offered me the place, and it was, when I tell you guys, and I got that call like the Friday before, I believe it was the Friday before I was due to move, because I was scheduled to start work on the 2nd of November, which was a Monday. And literally up until the Friday before, I didn't have a place to stay. When I got that call, it was just like a thank you God moment. As God did his thing with that. He definitely did. So this place, it wasn't ready when I was scheduled to move out. So I moved out on that. I moved here on the Sunday before the 2nd, and I stayed in the hotel for a few days until my place got ready. Whew. Just so I could make sure I started my job on time, and literally was going to work like I was I was going to work and just beaming, like I was just full of happiness and joy and all of that, because I knew everything that took place in the last just 2 weeks alone with trying to lock in a place to stay, trying to make sure I'm able to, I have all of my things in order to get out here, like all of that. So you would have never known that I'm at that point staying in the hotel, because my place wasn't fully ready. So, yeah, man. So I made that leap. I made that move, and and I've not regretted it since. When I tell you guys, since I've moved to Georgia, it's been one new experience after the next. And I say new experience, I mean the people that I've encountered, the networking opportunities, the learning, even with the job that I moved out here to take on. I learned a lot there, but realistically, it ultimately, that turned out to, in hindsight, what that was a stepping stone. I ended up making the decision to go full-time with Everlasting. So I'm working with my sisters, Jerica and Lynn. It's still kind of surreal to say, but that ride alone has been surreal. Like the people I've met, the networking that I've been able to do, just being in that space and in that realm has been incredible. But it has, I like I said before, I haven't had any, I don't have any regrets about picking up and taking the steps to move when I did, because everything has been, while it's been new, it's been intact, and it's been aligned with me and what I want to do and where I want to take. I Won't Be Long. Is everything has been right there. And on another note, as you guys see, I'm wearing my I Won't Be Long merch. Okay, you see it. But I'm wearing my merch, and again, and shout out to Jerica, who was able to do the design for the merch. She took my vision and was able to bring it to a reality. If you guys saw what this design looked like when I did it, I don't know if I just don't know if the sales would have been where they were. I don't know. But I appreciate, like, one thing about, like, the main thing about new beginnings is, of course, it's hella scary. It really is. When I first released these shirts, or even just a mock-up of them, because this was happening during the time that we were doing the back and forth, taking those trips back and forth from North Carolina to Georgia, that this idea became a reality. I posted the shirts after we did the samples, and it was so much positive feedback, so much supportive feedback. It was incredible to see, and I was so scared. Like I was terrified, because I'm not a fashion designer. I don't design merch, but I know that this is just another level of how I want my messaging to be received. I want to make sure I Won't Be Long is stuck up here. and in any way that I can, whether it's through the podcast, whether it's now through video, or whether it's whatever I put out that's going to further enforce the messaging of not limiting yourselves. So when I dropped the merch and to see the feedback, especially with how scared I was, it was like, wow, there's really no limitations out here to what you can do. And the only ones that we do have are what we place on ourselves. So yeah, man, so to see how that unfolded, and with the merch, I think I launched on Black Friday. And before I did the official launch, I'm going back and forth about how I want to have everything all in one, like this, kind of like releasing a bundle in a way. So I wanted to have the website for I Won't Be Long out. I wanted to have my podcast out, and the merch all released on the same day. Obviously 2 out of 3 didn't happen. Obviously 2 out of 3 didn't happen. And I was very like, I was on edge about that, because I'm like, well, I don't know if the merch is going to be received, if the podcast isn't there, or if the website isn't there to kind of back it up. But what I've learned, and again, with having a support team and having somebody like my sister Jerica, like in my corner, is like making a move is better than making none. So when I did the official release, it was even more overwhelming, and just like a moment where I realized like people really rock with this, because a lot of people, and honestly, having positive feedback or giving someone positive feedback, it does go a long way. It really does. But to have the support follow that is like that takes it to a whole other level. And you guys supported me. You supported my first merch launch, to the point that it sold out. To the point that I sold out. I would have never imagined being able to say I launched merch that sold out for my first time. So yeah, man, it's definitely been a journey. The last 3 months of 2020 was a really, put your head down, grind it out, do what you got to do to get where you want to be type of moment. And then going into 2021, it's been, okay, I'm starting up with a new career path. I'm starting where I'm working with my sisters. I'm starting following up on a merch launch and on a brand, and building on a brand that I created. I'm starting with networking. I'm starting up with being in love. Like, I'm starting up with all of these new beginnings, you guys, and none of it would have happened if I didn't take the steps and I let fear control me. Because all of those moments I was afraid of, everything that I've experienced so far, I was extremely afraid of going into it, and I had my doubts. But what kept me going is, and it's kind of the mantra that I'm walking into this year with is, and again, I've told you guys this before, when it's something that I'm afraid of, I fear it, then I lean into it. And I do that because I'm more afraid of what my life would look like without trying than I am of anything that I would come across from taking the risks that I take and taking the chances that I take. I'm more afraid of complacency and settling than I am of obstacles. that come with being successful, or challenges that come with walking in your light and walking in your purpose. So my fear and what I lean into, when I say that I lean into what when I say that I lean into what I'm afraid of, or when I lean into my fear, it's me going after something I have not done before. Because that's literally when I say I'm afraid, it's because it's new to me. It's a new lane. And naturally, you're going to have some apprehension about that. But those new beginnings, if you think back to anything in any time that you've tried something new and that you've done something new, and you think back to what that outcome was, then, you know, let that be what reminds you what's on the other side of that fear. It could be happiness, it could be growth, a learning opportunity, a networking opportunity, a new friend, it can really be anything that could take you to a level that you may not have been able to get to without trying. So this year is going to be about leaning into it. Leaning into it, you guys. And I'm going to continue to lean into my fears until I reach where I want to go. And that is to be in the space where my voice, my messaging is set and is leaving a lasting impact on someone, on anyone. Again, it's not about changing the world, because that's, you know, it's not really guaranteed. But if I can reach one person, if I can reach anyone with my messaging, then I've done my job. So for what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go, I truly have found a place where it supports that, and it's gonna elevate that. But of course, half of that is gonna be what I put into it. Look out for these new beginnings. Lifting the surface of new beginnings. You know, you kind of take a year like 2020, and a year that was filled with so many drastic changes, obstacles, challenges. You know, you're quarantined, so you're seeing people in different lights that you may not have seen them in before. It was that within itself was a new beginning. That was new. And being able to work through that in however you did. For me, that took therapy, that took my support system, that took me following something that I'm passionate about, and finding my voice and my passion. But that was still a process, as any type of healing would be. So you take 2020 and in a year of kind of just I want to say rebranding, but that's kind of what it is. It's like you're rebranding who you are, and you're resetting your intentions on this earth. So you take that year and you look back over anything that you've done, anything you accomplished, anything that you may not have saw yourself doing prior to what transpired last year. And you think of how you're walking into 2021. For me, I'm walking into 2021, I'm walking into 30 with my own brand. I'm walking into this year with a career, working with my sisters at an already growing Black-owned business, and helping to establish that, helping to and aiding in any way that I can in building on that. I'm walking into this year with love. I'm walking into this year with a clear and set vision on my purpose. And again, this isn't anything that I would have been able to accomplish if I let fear stop me. Fear plays a huge part in whether or not we choose to step out on something new. But I challenge you, when you think about starting something new or going after something new, think of two things. Think of where or what you may have started new before and how that's played out for you. And also think of what the alternative would be. What's the alternative? See, for me, me being afraid, letting fear dictate my decisions would mean I would have never made the move to Georgia. I would have never launched anything regarding merch. I would have never launched a podcast. I would not be sitting in front of you guys on video. This is one of the reasons that I've been away for so long, is because I knew I wanted to bring the podcast back through video and audio, but technical difficulties aside, it was just about being on camera. I'm used to being, just my voice, but I'm putting myself out there even more. And fear would not have allowed me to do that. So lean into that, and you will be surprised where it takes you. As always, you guys, this is Erica. Expect a lot to come for I Won't Be Long. As I always say, we're just getting started. And this is just the beginning. And again, as always, if I can help it, we won't be long.